And it's also taking that extra time out too, because when some of these people are trying to sell their homes, they're emotional. They want to talk and they want to have someone just lend an ear to them for 5 or 10 minutes. You know, just being willing to sit down a little bit longer and talk to them and really understand their problems to see how you can fix them. I feel like that's done wonders for the deals that we're able to get as well.
Welcome, everyone. We're on another Mobile Home Investing Lessons podcast, number 40. Thank you so much for being here. And on this podcast, we're talking about the model. The theme of this podcast is just doing it. Massive, imperfect action, just doing it. See what I did there? Okay. So we're going to talk about that and that's part of, I think, what made you both so successful. By the way, I'm joined here with Harold and Desiree. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, John.
This is so cool. This is mainly cool. I mean, for like me and you and for all we can see each other, we've been talking for so long. To the audience, they don't necessarily know, but this is cool. I love this that we're finally talking. And just recapping like everything that's happened in the last 12 months, we're going to touch on the like on the good stuff and the bad stuff, but I also want to talk about like the work, the effort, because on these podcasts or videos, it can just be all like, they're just making deals all the time. It's just they're sitting back and making deals. And a lot of this is work. 80%, 90% is the stuff that we necessarily don't talk about, just the day in, day out consistency.
Yeah.
A short, could you tell us a little bit about both yourselves real quick? Work, school, or just before mobile homes?
Yep. So I'm Desiree. I just graduated from the University of Illinois this past May in my bachelor's in sociology. Yes. I'm probably not going to use my degree anymore, thanks to John. But I am now working full-time remotely for a health insurance company. Don't plan to do that for much longer, but that's sort of where I'm at now.
And my name is Harold. I graduated from college in 2020 with a degree in sociocultural anthropology, but I'm back in graduate school right now, getting my master's degree in human resources and industrial relations. I do plan on using that. Hopefully it's my last semester, and we're both college students and exciting things ahead.
That's so awesome. You've gotten what? How has the mobile homes changed like the trajectory of your life? And then why this is a two-part question, but why mobile homes? Like of all the real estate stuff, why mobile homes?
So for me and Desiree, we've been together quite some time, and we knew that real estate was something that we wanted to do and wanted to invest. We first started looking at around 2020, but at that time, as you know, prices were skyrocketing. They were extremely high. So to us, it seemed like that dream was dwindling down of really jumping into real estate. We were doing some research online and we came across your page actually, or actually your Bigger Pockets podcast, and we were kind of discussing mobile home investing. And at that moment, for me, I was like, wait, we have so many mobile home parks here. We're in central Illinois in the middle of nowhere. We were like, this would potentially be perfect for us. So I sent it over to Desiree and she listened to it. And I think at first Desiree was kind of skeptical.
At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was completely against the idea because at the time I was still a full-time student working part-time. So I'm like, we barely have enough money. So like, why are we gonna try to do this right now? So, but I don't know, I just took the leap of faith with Harold and I'm like, okay, if he thinks it's a good idea, then I'll trust it. And we started just watching videos and reading a lot of books about it. And we started to gain that confidence, and here we are now.
Yep. And that's when we decided to kind of introduce ourselves to you and then go from there as well.
Yep.
How did you balance getting started with just, if you don't mind, what was your starting capital with mobiles, and how did you how did you have the confidence or know what to do, or just how did you make that work?
I think one of the main things that we did was in a way surround ourselves with mobile home investing. We watched that's why this is such a big moment for us. We watched every single one of your podcasts up until that point, your videos, anything that we could do to kind of get our hands on information, we did initially to really understand like, hey, you know, this is something that people do. This is something that we think that we could do. And then take the leap of faith from there. It wasn't so blind. It was a decision that we both made. We started with about about $10,000 in total capital. And we've expanded that from there.
Was there a lot of negativity? I mean, I know I gave you some questions here to talk about. This wasn't really one on them, but was there like just you watching all the videos and, was that partly to, yes, educate yourself, but was it also just because there was a lot of negativity out there, or did you tell people what you were doing at first, or how did you combat some of the negativity if you had any?
So for me personally, I kind of blocked myself off from the rest of the world. I didn't want to hear any negative comments, like reading the comment sections in any videos or posts. And I kind of just focused on what the information was at hand, and then kind of took that for myself and made my own opinions about it. So I'm not very active on social media. So I just kind of keep myself away from anything that can dissuade me from doing what I have an idea that I want to do. But also being with Harold and having his brain to sort of ease my worries and my anxieties too, that definitely helped too.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we did is we locked in together. We kind of decided that, the only reassurance that we needed was from each other. Me and Desiree both are first generation college students. So, we've navigated waters before where there was, other people in our families or in some of the places that we were in that didn't want to support us doing certain things that we decided to do in the past. So I feel like that really drove our decision to really lock in for our future and depend on the opinions of each other initially. As we begin to grow a little bit, we start to open up a little bit more because we know it works now and nobody can get to us in a negative way anymore.
Before you got started, did you have an idea like we want to just flip and make a lot of quick cash, or we want cash flow? What was the most exciting thing with like real estate?
I think as college students, we more so were coming into it just thinking of things that could support us while I'm in grad school, while she finished her undergrad. She was going into her senior year at the time. So we were more so looking for just a small supplement, an extra $300 to $400 a month, added on a few times to really just carry us through grad school, through the pandemic and everything else. I think that was our mindset coming in, but even until this day, we have not sold a single home on payments.
Yeah. Our phones have been straight for cash.
Cash deals and wholesales. But hopefully we do go into the route of taking payments in the future.
Okay. All right. I feel like you've attempted that, but then you've, for one reason or another, you just always gotten cash offers.
Every time odds get tempted, people just come and they're like, hey, I know you're asking this on payments. I'll pay you this cash right now. And it's hard to say no to.
You mentioned about, and that's incredible. I mean, this is real. Desiree, what you said before about, potentially not using your degree right away, or I mean, there's nothing right or wrong about that, but that's incredible. I mean, that is a tremendous, like, what a big decision. And then there's something that you decided to do, not on a whim, but just this real estate investing could be a real thing for the rest of your life. Not mobile homes necessarily. They might lead you to parks or to apartments or hotels or whatever you want to do. Do you find that what do you see as like a 5-year real estate goal for you both?
So 5 years from now, we definitely want to own a few parks, more than a few parks. We definitely want to get into more traditional real estate, owning apartment complexes, single family, multifamily homes. We kind of want to do it all and diversify our portfolio as much as possible.
Just do it.
Yep.
That's awesome. That is. So for, again, everyone else watching you, they're like, oh, okay, who are these guys? They're just saying stuff. But when you both are really saying that, I mean, I know what you can both do. That's awesome. There's no reason why, with the thousands or tens of thousands of apartments, hotels, parks around us, there's no reason why you won't. How is it? Well, I want to talk about how it's been working as a couple. I want to talk before that, if we could, about some of your deals. Harold, you mentioned, you peppered in there a little bit that none have been sold on payments yet. They've been sold cash or wholesaled.
Right.
Could you could we talk about one or two deals that come to mind? I don't know. I should have prepared a deal or something. One or two deals that come to mind, whichever one you guys would like to talk about.
So my favorite deal, and I think Desiree is in alignment with this too.
Okay.
There was one home, it was in the middle of the winter. I know that seems like when it's the hardest time to kind of buy and sell homes. That was located literally in the middle of nowhere. And he said he had this 2003 mobile home. It was a single wide, but it was a beautiful home. The owner hadn't even lived there in years, I guess, but it didn't look like that. It looked upkept. There was nothing that we had to do to it. There was a few repairs to the roof and to the ceiling that we had to make. That cost us about $700. We bought that home for only $3,500 though. So we were all in for $4,200. It was on land, so there was no lot rent that we had to pay or associate with that home. And we ended up selling it within 3 months for $24,000. So that was a big win for us. And that was by far both of our favorite deals.
Yeah.
Wow. During those 3 months, were you doing anything to it, or it was just holding and showing?
So we were having some handyman trouble. We were trying to get a handyman to get in there and make some of those repairs instantly. That took about a month for him to get in there. It took us some time to get all of our materials, and it took him some time to finish all of the work. And then it was just advertising from then on that took a little bit of time as well. But at the end of that 3 months, it sold.
I love that. That was a cash deal.
It was a cash deal.
And those are not, okay, so for somebody listening to that, we don't do this just for the money, but that is an important part. The seller was happy, I assume. The buyer was happy, or they wouldn't have done the deal. Is that an average deal? What's your average take a profit?
I wish. That's our average deal.
Yeah, that was our best to date.
Yeah, I think on average we make between $5,000 to $10,000 per flip. That's our average. But again, it just ranges depending on the home, the year, the bedrooms, and everything else.
How many hours do you think that you're putting in, or or maybe it's changed over the course of the year? Are you doing less now because you have more of a reputation, or you've automated some things?
Yeah.
So we are doing a lot less now than what we were doing in the beginning. And again, I know it sounds like it all just came extremely easy when that wasn't the case. I think it took us about 3 months to actually get our first deal.
All we were doing was driving for hours. Like, I think it was the summer, and all we were doing was just driving for hours every day, going all over central, southern Illinois. And I would say that was pretty much like a full-time job for us until we did get our first deals 3 months later.
And then once we got, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, once we actually did get our first deal, we bought them in a park there's 7, 8, or 9 parks here in the Champaign-Urbana area that all have the same owner. So we got them in one park, we fixed them up, and the owner just loved what we did with them and invited us to see other homes that they had for sale and that we could possibly buy and fix up and do the same thing with. So we were able to do that, build that relationship until this day. We're actually closing on 2 or 3 more, I believe, within the next week with that same park owner.
I did not say it on this video yet. Congratulations. I mean, I know I said it a bunch of times in real life, but from that big deal that you did with the walking away of 20 and then making 5 and 10 on these shorter or these average deals, and then working with just a couple parks to have that real, I mean, it makes sense. It makes total sense. Why wouldn't an owner of a park want to work with, why wouldn't someone want to work with, you both, that you're actually proven, you do what you say you're going to do. It makes total sense. And now you're just reaping the rewards. You have a business, you have more of a reputation.
It did take time to build that relationship, though. I introduced myself to that park manager, and they were kind of skeptical at first. That was actually the first park manager out of the 150 to 200 that we actually ended up meeting
Mhm.
that I met.
Mhm.
And
It did not go well.
the first meeting with her just didn't go well.
Uh-huh.
She was kind of asking questions that I was kind of unsure about. But ultimately, I just knew that we needed a chance to prove ourselves.
Mhm.
And when we got that opportunity, we did the most to really impress her.
Mhm.
So what did that, do you mean you called back a couple times? You showed up, you bought donuts or?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did everything. We called them nonstop to the point where they kind of just got tired of us calling and told us just come in the office and we can talk. I think Harold bought them. What did you bring them? Valentine's Day gifts?
Valentine's
You did? How are you gonna be mad at that?
We bought them Christmas gifts.
Uh-huh.
So we went the extra mile for sure to
Yeah.
really build that relationship.
Did you know that they had all those vacant properties prior? Is that why you were specifically kind of buttering them up or being persistent with them, or you're persistent with that with everybody?
So we're not as persistent with everybody. I would say for this park specifically, more so just it was convenient. It's really close to where we live. So we would just prefer to be in these parks. I think looking at the homes, there were definitely, from what we could tell, the type of homes that we want to target. But it was more so just really wanting to build that relationship with somebody that's close and we can hopefully continue doing business with them long term.
We are still full-time college students, and we knew that that time crunch that we were on, driving, there were park managers, 50, 60 miles away that we did take those same gifts to, and that we really did work with closely, and we still are working with extremely close. But just having parks in our backyard that have a group of people who are willing to work with us is just, we just knew we kind of needed that relationship.
Do you know if there are other mobile home investors in the area, or is it just you? You guys are the. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Well, that's normal.
Yeah.
Do you feel like everyone's kind of equal, or you outshine them, or you kind of hear that people like you better, or it's all just?
So honestly, we hear that people like us better than other people. I think it's because we do what we're gonna do. We do what we say we're gonna do. We run into people all the time who say, "Hey, this person came out and took a look at it, and they said they were supposed to make me an offer, and they're buying and selling homes, and I've never heard back from them." So I'm extremely eager to work with you both. We've had people literally tell us like, "Hey, I was going to sell to this other person who was literally offering $5,000 or $6,000 more, but because of the way that you guys handle yourselves, we want to do business with you." And I think just how we approach people and talk to people do wonders for the deals that we're able to get.
Yeah. And a lot of that is the consistency, because we follow up with people as best as we can, 2 to 3 days. We're not hearing back from you. We're giving you a call or a text. And I guess with a lot of people that are trying to sell or buy, they kind of hear something from someone and never hear from them again.
And it's also taking that extra time out too, because when some of these people are trying to sell their homes, they're emotional. They want to talk and they want to have someone just lend an ear to them for 5 or 10 minutes. Just being willing to sit down a little bit longer and talk to them and really understand their problems to see how you can fix them. I feel like that's done wonders for the deals that we're able to get as well.
You are so right. That little bit of bedside manner to take the extra 10 minutes or have some, lemonade or whatever they're offering, or, just think about them or listen, or to not just be in a rush to get out the door or listen. Yeah. Wow. Just basic. This is a people business.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I think we were working on the mobile home formula. We were actually on vacation. You remember that? We were in New Orleans. So it was like we found out we got accepted into the program and the group. So we're like, let's just knock out a few hours a day and then let's go party.
And forget everything we learned.
And then when we came back, boots on the ground, that's when we really started to try to figure out, so what are we actually good at when we're implementing these action steps? So I feel like for us, it was definitely a learning curve, trying to really understand our strengths and weaknesses in relation to the business. I know Harold for sure is definitely a people's person, and I'm kind of more so the back end organizational person. So that's how we kind of try to organize ourselves and divide tasks and sort of delegate and divide and conquer a little bit.
Do you both go look at properties together when possible?
We used to, not so much anymore. We do have a reason for that.
Yeah. So, well, Desiree has been handling that side of things for the past few months. I actually had a nasty injury. I tore my Achilles a couple of months ago, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, and I'm just now getting back to the point where I'm able to walk. So we changed tasks, and then she was the one out there meeting people, and I was handling everything in the background, calling buyers and sellers and doing those sorts of things. And it really did give me a newfound appreciation for the things that Desiree does. I feel like to really understand what we're doing, we both had to swap sides a little bit. And I think it's really helped out.
It definitely has, because I absolutely appreciate Harold talking to all these people for hours. Because when I had to do it, it's like a complete 180. I'm in the office by myself organizing papers. Now I'm talking to these people like, okay. But yeah, it definitely has been helpful. And I just appreciate Harold so much more for everything that we've been able to teach each other.
How did you get over even with the training, even you could call me, you can lean on me, you can lean on each other. If you remember back a year ago, how did you feel? I mean, just mentally, just because we're going on faith in the beginning. We haven't done this. We watch videos. Other people can do it. If this person can do it, I can do it. And we're doing it on faith only, belief. How, do you remember being nervous? Do you remember feeling prepared? You remember thinking like, what the hell are we doing here?
So again, I just know it sounds like we were able to get so many deals and we've been doing this and that, but in the beginning, that simply was not the case. We again went months without getting a deal, and when we were out there meeting with people, making offers, I remember our first offer that we made, the person accepted. It was about 2 hours away from our house. We drove there. We were literally waiting for the person, didn't get a text back, came back home. They said they were ready the next day, went back out there just happy, and they were like, hey, I just sold to somebody else 30 minutes ago because they offered me $500 more.
Yep. And that happens so many times throughout our first 3 months of investing and really learning the process. So to be honest, it kind of shot at least my confidence a little bit. Because I'm like, it's been 3 months. We're doing everything that John's asked us to do in the modules. Like, it's supposed to pay off, or so we thought.
Yeah, but it was hard in the beginning, and we had to really confide in each other and say like, hey, this does work. We just have to believe in it. We have to keep moving and keep trying. And eventually it did begin to pay off for us.
What is that? What is that? Or maybe it's not universal, but what's your, secret? Is there a secret to success? Is there a, what is it? What was that thing that flipped? Was it something that you were doing wrong in the business, or you went to a new area, or you were saying this and you should have said that, or just?
Oh, when you asked that question, the first thing that came to mind is one of my favorite sayings. And it's like, I believe that I'm lucky, but the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I really believe that was the key, the thing that turned is our hours just begin to pay off. We didn't see it immediately, but we stayed dedicated. I remember there were days where we were meeting 10, 20 park managers a day, only because we were driving so far away from our homes that, if we didn't hit them today, we have class tomorrow, Desiree has work. There were things that we couldn't do. So we were putting in a lot of hours. And at the end of the day, we just began to get lucky, I guess. But it was because we were working hard.
Yep.
Is there a particular story that comes to mind that you want the audience to hear, or that would be impactful in some way? That'd be great.
So, this was the first mobile home that Harold and I have ever seen. Previously, before working with John in the modules, we've never seen a mobile home before.
Okay, do I know? I don't even know if I know this story. Okay, yeah.
Yep. So our first mobile home was in a town that's pretty close to Champaign-Urbana called Rantoul, and this huge park. It's like a little city, and it has its own gas line. I think its own gas line and separate water from the city and everything. So we're like, wow, this is what it's like. And it was not a good park. It was probably like a 1-star park, if that. And the very first time that we met this park manager, she was showing us in her little go-kart, like all the homes that she had that were available, and they were all handyman specials. And we get to the back of the park, and this one that she shows us is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I think it was the 1980s, but there was no floor and there was no roof. So we walk in, and half of the floor is like gone. There's a big hole in the roof. And then out of nowhere, one of the neighbors comes and they're like, oh, you guys are trying to buy this home? And he's like, yeah, don't buy this shit. It's a piece of shit. And we were still taken aback because the guy came out of nowhere. We didn't even know he came in the home after us. And he told us a story behind that home. I guess the park like neglected it. And there was a fire that started on the roof, but that fire only got put out because there was a hole or like a little divot in the roof that was filling with water during like a storm. And that's how the floor or the ceiling caved through. And I guess that messed up the floor. And that was definitely a memorable experience. I'll never forget that home.
The most important thing that I learned that day was all free homes are not good homes. And in every market, at least, maybe in some markets, but not ours.
And talk to your neighbors too. That's another.
Yeah. How do you make this work as a couple? How do you make that work? You both are you're always happy when I talk, or they both seem to complement each other and support one another. What's your secret?
I feel like from a emotional aspect, outside of the aspect of the business, being an entrepreneur or having entrepreneurial dreams is already in itself hard and challenging, especially starting out, and you're second guessing yourself and you're, hey, I don't know if this can work. I don't know if we'll be able to do this. I don't know if I can do this. Just having a partner to be able to lean on and support you through those thoughts, I think has been the most important thing for us. Because I know we seem happy, but there have been times where we've heard sad stories and things have bothered and affected us, because we are still people outside of the business that we really had to lean on each other and depend on each other to get through for our business. So if you're doing it together, I would say that it's important to really remember to lean on each other.
Yeah. And I would say, even though you are in a romantic relationship with this person, they still are your business partner. So for us, I feel like it's definitely been important to try to separate those lines between our romantic relationship and us doing business together. Because there's been a few times where we've sort of butt heads about things in the business, and that might carry into our relationship. So it's definitely been a learning process of us trying to navigate, I guess, how to separate things and delegating tasks and things like that.
What do you do in situations like that? And when you both feel like you've got the answer that is the right one?
I feel like the biggest thing to do in that situation that I think has helped us is really sit back and look at the situation in its entirety, and say, hey, we're coming into this thing with a lot of emotion. Even if you are right, or even if I am right, let's remember that it's us versus this problem. Let's really understand what the problem is to see what is the best solution. And I think once you take the time to really understand that it's you versus the problem and not you versus your partner, it's incredibly helpful.
You do have a lot of things going on with school, with work, with investing. Do you have any special routines that you do? Any like morning routines? Do you get up at like 2 a.m. and start working?
So we map everything out. Luckily for us, the parks that we usually work with run a little bit later. They usually open around 9 or 10. Desiree has work in the mornings, but I'm usually free on the days that I don't have class. So at the beginning or at the end of every week, every Sunday, I sit down and I map out exactly what we need to do, what things we need to hit and when it needs to be hit. There's a lot of talking to park managers, a lot of replying to ads, a lot of talking to sellers and buyers. And then I make sure to leave some flexibility because we still have to make time to get out there and view the homes. I usually do that on Fridays. And some of the homes that we view can be 25, 30, 45 miles apart from each other in different towns here in Illinois. So I give myself a little bit of room to really make it to all those appointments. And Desiree does a great job with all of the advertising, posting the ads, taking pictures for all of the homes. We usually try to list all of our ads for our homes on Wednesdays, only because that's when Facebook is the most popular study show to really garner that attention. But we map it out, and it's a really in-depth plan, and I'm proud of us for sticking to it.
Yes. It's so important to have your goals written down, or your goals and your to-dos, and that way it takes a lot off your mind. You can just focus on doing that. This business is hard enough without having to remember constantly or beating yourself up that you haven't done something.
If you try to remember, you will not.
Yep, we learned that
We
very
learned that
quickly.
early on.
Ooh.
You need to write it down. You need a plan.
Mhm,
You need a shared calendar. We
mhm,
use a shared calendar so both of us can see it. If somebody makes a change, it says it.
mhm,
It says what's being completed and when it needs to be completed.
mhm,
And I feel like that's done wonders for the both of us.
mhm.
Is there something that this business has helped, like, you like before you had a deficiency and, I wasn't good in this, or I wasn't good in that, or I really had to get better in this thing, to make this work, or did nothing, or anything like that? Like you had to change as a person?
Mhm. Yep. So I would say for me, definitely my people working skills have improved for sure. And one thing that I actually learned from Harold, because I feel like he has great people speaking skills and things like that, but he'll take notes on the things that he'll talk with people about. So if you come back to that person and you mention something that you talked with them about previously, they'll like you that much more for it. So I kind of adopted that from him and it's helped tremendously.
That's really good.
And Desiree has helped me tremendously with my organization skills. I'm not usually organizational, but I know in order to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be. And luckily, I was blessed with a partner who is extremely structured and understands the importance of organization. And again, once I tore my Achilles, I was able to really dig deeper into that process of being an organizational person. So that's something that I really learned.
This was incredible. I know that I got value out of this. I hope a lot of other people who are still listening got value. Thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you for
course,
having
thank
us.
you.
It was, and thank you as well for really opening our eyes to something that we wanted to do and assisting us throughout this entire journey.
Yeah, and really being our first mentor. It was really great being able to talk to you, have you be there to answer our questions. It seems like 24/7 sometimes, but really thank you so much because you helped us in a large way build our confidence in what it is we do now.
Any question we had, you were always there, and it was just phenomenal to have you. We say this to each other all the time, but like we couldn't imagine trying to start this process without you, honestly, without your mind and without your intelligence and your problem solving, because you've been there, and it's just done wonders for us.
I'm really glad to hear that. If I can be that partner for you, I mean, there should be a return on your investment. And that's how we got started. But I like to think now that we become friends and we talk about other things, not just real estate. And I want to, see you both do parks and bigger things. And then we got more decades to go. So decades of investing.
Hopefully we can meet in person someday.
Oh, definitely. Actually, we'll talk about that maybe afterwards.
Okay.
But I may be in your area. So.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much. That was cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.